Yeah. Today. Said I woke up to the summer shining through. Calling on my friends asking what's the move. Feeling a little different, I'm on something new. Today. I ain't gonna let no clouds get in my way. The only road I'm walking is the one I pick. Catch me sitting in the sun, no time for shade. Today. This is the day that the Lord has made. And I ain't gonna let it slip away. I'm gonna be joyful. Yes I am. I'm gonna be joyful. Today.
Man, I really saw God working in the way that, some people might not see a lot of the time. And, a lot of people think that evangelizing and telling people about God has to come with someone being saved on the spot, someone giving their life in that moment. But, a huge part of our walk and, telling people about Christ is just simply planting seeds. And I think the biggest thing that I saw in the Navajo is just putting smiles on their faces. They had a really, really tough year. With COVID, they hit so hard with COVID, and obviously not going last year, which is a big encouragement for them. And so coming back this year, and the time I spent with my family at their house, it was just a great time. You just put smiles on their faces and allow them to be encouraged and happy. And I think the smallest thing like that really does plant a seed as they see God's love that we're giving onto them. Whenever God uses that later in their lives, isn't necessarily going to be up to us. It may be, but it may not be. And so I think that's the biggest way for me personally, seeing just the way we were able to encourage them and show them God's love.
So this year, it was really cool to see how the Lord worked among the Navajo people, just with how open they were with talking to me specifically, because I was on the basketball team, so I got to talk to a lot of the Navajo kids, and just about their struggles and what they were going through. And it was really cool because I was able to share a lot of what I'd gone through in the past and how God had worked in my life with them, and I really think it impacted them. I saw the Lord working in the team in just how ready everyone was to help and how they all had such a servant's heart. And at any moment, if there's any problem, a bunch of people would just volunteer to help and really just give up their time and their energy to go serve other people. I didn't know a ton of my grades super well. I got to know them even better on the trip. And just when I was going through tough times, I remember talking with, Helena and just other people that really encouraged me because we were able to relate to some of the struggles that we were going through and just talk about it. And it's always nice to know that you're not alone when you're struggling.
A way that I saw the Lord working in the team just throughout Arizona is by seeing our generation rising up to take their place. And something that God, I think, put in my heart and my mind on AZ was the song lyric from Hosanna that says, I see a generation rising up to take their place with selfless faith. And I think that I really saw that in specifically my grade, the incoming seniors. And I think that's because there were less leader spots this year than there have been in years past, because we were only allowed to bring 60 people. So we ended up having to preserve more spots for students than leaders. And so my grade, I think, really did an amazing job of stepping up and showing God's love with everything we have. Going in, I felt super unequipped. My work crew was the basketball team, and I felt super unequipped, like God wasn't going to be able to use me there because I just wasn't good enough. But Stephen, on the training, he was talking about how we were equipped, and I didn't believe it. And then we ended up going on the trip, and usually there's an adult who runs halfway through the day. Usually the younger kids in the basketball camp kind of get tired and go off and just do arts and crafts and stuff like that. And usually Shauna Fuller has ran that in years past, but she didn't end up coming this year. And there was no leader specifically assigned to that and who had been prepping for that. So I ended up just kind of taking over and running the afternoon with the younger kids. And God was really, I was so shocked in how he used me because I just did more than I ever thought that I was capable of doing. And then even with other people, other seniors who were doing basketball with me, some of the guys were still out with the older kids in the afternoon. But Eli Marison, Connor Tom, Nate Rago, we're all out there in the afternoon, like pouring into the older kids with just as much love from God as I was pouring into the younger kids. A verse that I think applies to that is Genesis 22:18, and in your offspring shall all the nations of the earth be blessed, because you have obeyed my voice. And I think that we all came into AZ with just hearts for God and wanting to serve and obeying his voice and being there.
This trip I was only able to go for a little portion of the trip, as opposed to the first time I went. I was there for the whole time, and it was actually a really big challenge leading up to the trip, not being able, knowing that I couldn't be there the whole time, because I was under the impression that the only place I could serve during those 10 days was in Arizona. And so I went on the trip just for a couple days, and the way God was working in me is how he was teaching me that in every situation there's always a place you can be serving God and serving other people, and he's always placing new opportunities in front of you. The way I was able to just pour my heart out into the Navajo, into working on my work site for just a couple days that I was there, was showing me that the amount you get done has nothing to do with your circumstances, and serving God has nothing to do with your circumstances. There's always a place where you can serve and you can be a light for other people. And going into the trip, like I said, I was so sad about leaving. And when I did leave, I was actually able to take what I had learned and how I can serve in a situation, and I was able to actually have conversations with random people that I met on an airplane. And just being able to do that was a testament to how God is always allowing us to serve him. And the way my mindset was changed is that I don't have to be on Arizona to serve God. He's always using us in different ways, in different places. And that revelation was just an amazing one for me, being able to serve him in every situation of my life. And like I said, the circumstances don't matter. And a verse that really connects to what I was learning on the trip is 1 Peter 4:10, which says, each one should use whatever gift he has received to serve others, faithfully administrating God's grace in its various forms. And this verse really just speaks to what I was learning, that in every form of life that God is giving us, there's a way to serve.
It was the second day, or I guess the first day that we were on the reservation, and John Bloom came up and did orientation. And he was like, a big need that we always have as teachers. We need people. And that kind of got my mind rolling of, is this something that I want to do? Do I want to teach on the reservation? And I started thinking about it, and it grew and grew until I got to my prayer partners that night, and I kind of was like, I have this idea that seems crazy, and I think I need to say it so that I can be like, okay, that's a bad idea, let's move on. And then everyone that I talked to was like, that's a great idea. And I was like, is it a great idea? It's kind of a great idea. So I just kept on thinking about it throughout the week, and just talking to more and more people, getting advice, getting counsel on it, and seeing, is this something that's feasible? Is this something that I could actually do? And would this be good for me? And would I be effective? And the conclusion I came to while I was on the reservation was yes to all of those things. Yes, it would be good. Yes, it would be beneficial. And yes, I think I would be effective at it. And so I came home and was like, I'm going to take the time outside of the reservation, outside of being with these specific people that have been encouraging me to do this specific thing, and take the time is this something that I actually want to do, or was I just getting excited about it because I was there? And it was definitely a wrestling period for me in those 5-ish days, because I didn't have a lot of time to decide. So it was like those 5 days going back and forth, is this something that I want to do? Do I want to go teach? But I really just thought about it, and I said to myself, it's just such a good opportunity, and God has made it possible. So why wouldn't you do it? It just seems right in a lot of ways. So I said yes. I said I was going to go. So that was about 2-ish weeks ago from the time we're recording this. And I am leaving in a couple days to go teach on the res. This is a verse that God showed me on the res, which I love, which is Psalm 115:1, I believe, which is, not to us, O Lord, not to us, but to your name give glory, for the sake of your steadfast love and your faithfulness. And I know it kind of seems like not super applicable necessarily, but I just love the idea of everything I do is not for my own glory, but it's also my own difficulty is also not just for myself. Like I'm not going through pain and hardship just for myself, just for the experience, but also because it says that we're supposed to rejoice in our trials and our sufferings because they give us perseverance, that I can use these experiences and these things that I'm learning to bless other people. And so I'm just jumping into it and just trusting that God will make good from it in my lives and in the lives of others.
I'm gonna be joyful. I'm gonna be joyful today. I'm gonna be joyful. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. I'm gonna be joyful today. I'm gonna be joyful. I'm gonna be joyful today. I'm gonna be joyful. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. I'm gonna be joyful today. I got the joy down in my heart, down in my heart, down in my heart. I got the joy down in my heart, down in my heart, down in my heart. I got the J-O down in my heart, down in my heart, down in my heart.